Welcome back to the Pressure Piece Podcast. Today, we don't know what we're talking about, but we're going to figure it out along the way. Welcome.
Glad to have you here. Hit that like button. Let's touch the third rail, Social Security. No, I'm just kidding.
Diving deep.
So I was telling you, I watched that Netflix documentary about Garfield.
Yeah.
And great show. Highly recommend it.
Like the cat with the little lasagna?
Yeah, that's how the cat came around. They ate some pizza or lasagna. But no, about the President Garfield, his presidency was only about 100 days. And I did a little research after watching the show, and basically, was he deemed a good president? And history's kind of stated that the first 100 days were locked up in gridlock because of his own party, the Republicans, right? He had one dude out in New York that just threw the wrench. Anyway, long story short, I don't want to give the movie away, but they pretty much had kind of foreshadowed and estimated that if he had remained president, he probably would have been one of the best presidents we ever had, because he was fighting to stamp out, corruption and the old way of doing things.
Right.
And the reason he had the problem with the party was because they wanted to continue this whole old boy system where everyone gets rewarded and for their support, stuff like that. And
Politics.
he was like, yeah, just politics. But it's like not much different than today.
It's not, and it goes to show that both sides are in the same boat. Mm-hmm. There's really no difference. If you want to clear the swamp, whatever you want to call it,
right?
Whatever Garfield called it back in the day, but you're going to get opposition from both sides, and that's the.
Probably put my headset on.
I mean, if you want to hear me, that's fine. You're like, I don't know, I can't hear you.
I hear you now.
Okay, good. Yeah, but if you get opposition from both sides, you're doing something right, I think.
This one really didn't focus too much on the opposition. It was within his own party. What I also found interesting was his vice president, who they kind of alluded to being aloof for the most part after he took reins when he got shot. He stepped down after the end of his term, or after the end of the term, and then a Democrat won. But basically there was a 24-year span where the Republicans from Lincoln to then had control of the presidency.
That's why we need a three-party system.
I don't think we need a
dude, I do.
I don't believe that.
Founding fathers even said we don't go to two-party system.
No, I'm not in favor of a three-party system.
Got to have alternatives, man. When the two parties just team up and you get a flavor A or flavor A in a different package, it's not.
I think we might not get the best candidate if we have a three-party system. Take Ross Perot back in Clinton, right? And how.
Yeah, but that's a third candidate trying to fit into a two-party system.
What's not the third party going to stand for, right? You got conservatives and liberals, progressives. Where are they going to fit in? You got the Libertarian Party.
They'd be centralist. I mean, we're going so far right and so far left that.
But that could align with either party.
It could,
it could be. I've always thought if you were to create a third party, you should call it the American Party, and just be right down the frickin' center and go left and right about 20% each
Musk
way.
was going to call his.
Who?
Musk.
I forget what Musk was going to call it.
American Party or something like that. But the right and the left both pander to their extreme.
Okay, so
bases.
Let me throw a scenario, right? We're talking about the presidency, I guess, to start with, right? So let's just
all of it, but yeah,
let's just say that the president is a third party candidate, and they call it the American Party,
right?
So now we got the House and the Senate, and if neither one of them agree with him, he doesn't have a party to get his platform through. So he would have to. So now you're talking about dividing up 100 senators and all the congressmen and women. It just be gridlock, which may not be a bad thing, but at the end of the day, most everything can be looked at as black and white, right? You got the Libertarian Party, right?
Yeah, but you're still talking about fitting a third-party president into a two-party House and Senate. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the entire system go three parties or more.
Well, Mexico's got that.
More the merrier.
They got corruption. Because no party is powerful enough to actually do anything, right? So if we had, look at the House and Senate now, they get gridlocked, they get divided, and the breaking tie is the vice president in the Senate. So if a three-party system, I mean, theoretically, you'll never have a tie, but I believe the system was set up for a two-party system. I've always heard that it wasn't set up for a two-party system.
Right. They warned against the two-party system.
They might have warned against it, but they framed with the two because of the tying vote of the vice president, right? So the only way there could be a tying vote is a 50-50, and the odds of bipartisan mingling, and you get...
No, you still, every vote is still yes or no, right? No matter what party is voting yes or no, you're still going to have that tying vote. So it's not that you have a two-party system
that's
with
assuming that
two
you've
separate...
got bipartisanship on both sides of the yes and the no, right? So
right, but you can have that with 3 parties, 4 parties,
have
5
we ever
parties.
had that? I don't think so.
What's that?
I don't think we've ever had a tying vote by the vice president to where the yes was a combination of Republicans and Democrats, and the no was a combination of Republicans and Democrats.
Because it's happened that way doesn't mean that's the way it was set up to be. You're talking about corruption in Mexico and shit. We have the same shit. It's just better hidden. We haven't let it get to the point where it left Hollywood, and because down there the cartels are running the show. But in reality, dude, we're just as corrupt.
I just don't see where it would fit in, right? You can look back now, and Clinton was about as center of the road as you can get in today's view of politics. He was pretty centrist.
Right.
You know what I mean? Reagan was probably considered a little bit more on the right.
Yeah, he's a lot further right than...
I believe Obama, in future, looking back, will be probably considered a little bit more centrist, believe it or not.
But look at it in a business sense, right? If you have 2 competing companies, it is better for them to team up and both raise their prices. AIAs do this all the time, right? The lack of competition in AIAs forces a price increase because there's no competition, and it decreases the wages of the AIs. Look at Oklahoma. There's 2 AIAs, option A or option B. They both raise their prices together. They both pay the exact same amount. Now, if a third party came in there, said, hey, we're going to shake it up a little bit. We're going to lower prices, or we're going to increase pay, something of that nature. Just because there's 2 parties that are competing against each other doesn't mean they're not going to flange up and do what's best for them, right? They can undercut each other, or they can both raise prices at the same time.
But I don't see that going on.
Oh, dude, it goes on every day in Washington.
Look at what do we got right now? The shutdown. They're not teaming up.
I heard they voted for...
I think they had a preliminary vote to... In fact, they're calling for Schumer's removal, which is... Well, I mean, I agree. He needs to go, but that's just my opinion.
I think they all need to go. I think they need term limits and kick them out.
I would be for that.
That would be one of the best things for America is term limits.
I wonder if an executive order could handle that.
I don't know.
Because otherwise you're asking everyone to vote in opposite of their interest.
They're going to vote themselves out of a job.
You know what I mean? I'll tell you who they need to go after is Pelosi.
She's retiring.
I saw there's a whole issue about the insider trading and how her husband does all that,
If you want to make a fortune, just make all the trades that they make. And
I thought about that. I did.
There's people out there that do it.
I don't know. It's usually after they make the trades that, something.
Right. You got to be
like tapping their phone lines or something.
I mean, there's people that do it, but
I mean, I
don't know about tapping their phone lines,
but it's that the stories of they bought X amount of shares the day before Congress votes to help that industry or something like that.
Right.
I mean, it's just...
We have better control over football players not betting on sports games than we have politicians not betting on...
Who's going to police them? Up until this point, the FBI, right?
The third party.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I just don't see a third party being viable. We've had it. We have it. If the public wanted it, we would have it.
No, the problem
is... There's nothing to prevent it. And in what, as far as back as I can think of, right? You got Ross Perot. But we've had Ralph Nader. We've had other candidates that are, it's just there's no appetite for it. If there was an appetite for it, it would be there.
No,
but without the appetite.
Problem is, it's you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, man. It's not that we have a third-party system. It's that we have a third-party candidate trying to fit into a two-party system. And the problem with that is,
why is that?
It has to take.
Well, why is that?
It has to take votes away from one of the parties.
Because the two sides together make the whole, right?
Because they control the country that way. Why would they ever let a third-party candidate? And look at Trump. He damn near ran as a third-party candidate the first time.
And he had a. That's what I'm saying. If there was a viable option, people would vote for it. But there's not a viable option. It's not that the government controls that. We, the people, control the third-party system.
People are so set in their ways that they're going to vote for that candidate no matter what. They're going to vote along party lines no matter what.
But that third-party candidate has got to, in his fundamentals, lean left or right. There's no other way to lean. You can't lean forward. You can't lean backwards. You lean towards conservative or not conservative. You know what I mean? Progressive or conservative.
Libertarian or some. I mean,
that's more liberals, right? The whole liberal party, the environmental side, and all that.
No, not the environmental side. The
libertarian,
the global approach side of it. The protect our home front. Quit getting involved in a bunch of shit overseas we don't need to be involved in, and protect our money, protect our troops, protect our assets in America, and not be the global police that go in and fund everyone's transgender studies and everything else.
No, I agree with all that giving money away. But as far as being global police, I think that is a responsibility we have to bear. Without our involvement, it'd be bloodshed, in my opinion. Look at Sudan and look at all these, killing all these Christians.
Still in with our involvement. We pick and choose who we go protect. We're not global peace. We don't go protect everyone.
Be, right? But our Navy roams the world.
Absolutely.
Right? So therefore it keeps everybody at bay. It keeps everyone tampered down. Because if you jack with our allies, they know we're there to
understood. Our allies, you're right. But there's genocide going on right now.
Right.
That we completely ignore because it's not the genocide that we wanted to go take care of. Right. So I understand the whole, there's no benefit to us to going into those countries. And
right. But if you're talking about a Libertarian Party as being bring everybody home and just protect our home borders, I think that's a naive approach. I believe the information you learn from being on these high-ranking committees and being a president, and you get to peek behind the curtain, I truly believe that when those secrets are understood,
yeah, your mindset changes.
The libertarians, all these people that kind of, I'm just saying if there was a appetite, the American people would have made it happen. I believe completely in the American people, right?
Right. So I think there is an appetite, but I think what you brought up earlier is a good point. Is if we do elect a third-party president, what are they going to do? They don't have a party in the House or Congress, right? So if we had a whole three-party system, or third-party system,
if that was what we wanted, we would have that. Is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think so. Who's going to give them debate time? Who's going to give them? Everything's stacked against them, right? We have candidates that aren't allowed to debate that are in the two-party system because the news media controls.
Well, there's the presidential debate with Ross Perot in it. We had a three-party system at one election.
No, we had a third-party candidate, not a three-party system. There's a difference between having a whole party and having a candidate.
They're going to ask questions of the gentleman or the lady.
Right.
And all questions are what? Leaning left or leaning right.
If you break everything in life down to left or right, sure. But there's a lot of...
Left, right, or middle, right? So left, right, or middle.
Right.
So every question that would be asked of them is a question based upon left, right, and middle.
Right.
We've already got that covered.
But do we want someone that is all right or all left?
Well, that's where the American people get a vote, right? So the primary,
we only get to vote.
The primary process weeds out the each party gets to pick their bucket, right?
Right. But if all the candidates are the same, if you get to pick out of these 10 yellow fucking Skittles or these 10 red Skittles or whatever it is, you're picking red or yellow. You don't get the option of the other colors, right?
Well, because those other parties have their own primaries.
No, dude, there's not.
That whole scary thing about Ralph Nader getting elected to his party when McAfee was a runner-up. That whole issue about McAfee damn near could have been on the presidential ticket.
Right.
That's crazy. So those other parties got to get together and get the shit together.
Man, I don't.
It's not like if there's no other way to do it. There's no other. It's not the government can say, okay, we're going to have a third party. No, the people have to do it. The people have to do it. And if the people aren't doing it,
and we almost had it with the Tea Party, right? Which is the Tea Party was just the offshoot of the Republican, the right. But
it was just the Republicans saying,
but it was
Republicans, get your shit together.
Right. It was a very conservative
That's the
side
only
of the
protest
Republican
I went
Party.
to, by the way.
Yeah, I've been to the Tea Party.
Tea Party. It was pretty uneventful.
It was.
Well, it's kind of like, it's hot.
I don't even remember what we did. I remember being there. I remember all the people. But I don't remember anyone speaking. I don't remember music.
People having signs and stuff, but yeah. But it did its job. I think it scared them.
It did. And that's what we need, right? We need a third party to be in there to scare the other two parties into not aligning.
Why don't you run?
No.
You know, I've always wanted to run for senator.
You know,
ever since I was a kid.
If I got frozen for 200 years and came back and was the smartest man on earth,
did you watch that movie?
I'd probably run. No, I haven't. No, I mean, I don't have an appetite for politics at all.
I would love to be. I don't know why. I have no idea why I've always wanted to run for Senate.
Yeah, no. I mean, other than maybe a city council or something.
And then I even thought about it one time. I was like, you know what? If I could go to Kansas or one of these states that are just kind of teeny tiny small, you can wine and dine 3/4 of the state. And it's a lot easier, I think, to run for a Senate office in a small state with less people than something like Texas where you know, God, there's so many people. But then I also thought the good old boy system might be a little bit tougher to break in smaller states.
In the whole third party system and all that, it works a lot better in the small areas. You're talking about a lot of these votes are within hundreds of each other.
Right.
And we're not talking huge swings.
Start paying people off.
Right.
Yeah.
There's more people in Harris County than the entire state of Kansas.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's a lot easier, I think, in my mind.
There's more people in Harris County than like 20 states or something like that. Oklahoma, Kansas,
Alaska,
Nebraska,
New Mexico.
So the politics are actually a lot better off in those small communities, but they're probably a little more corrupt too. Once you're a big fish in a small pond, it's a little easier to bully your way
you're
around.
Able to butter people's bread a little easier at that level.
Yeah.
Well, name recognition. I mean, trying to beat the incumbent. I know there's a statistic that trying to beat an incumbent, especially one that's done a pretty decent job, is pretty difficult to hit.
Right.
Or break. You know, I mean, I guess it should be that way, right? If you're doing your good job, if you're doing it well, people are satisfied, then, you know, you got to be a pretty badass to come in there and wobble.
I don't know that you even need to do it well.
I do.
People
politics.
inherently I don't want the
message the media pushes.
Yeah, but it's the devil you know, not the devil you don't. You know, you don't want to take a risk. People don't want to take a risk. They say, okay, I know this candidate. I know they don't do the best job, but it could be worse. And what if that next guy's worse? And that's the problem is people are scared of change. And because change could be better, could be worse, but they don't want to find out.
I think people are afraid to do their research. Because if you do your research, you have a better understanding. But most people just turn on the news and whatever they get from that is their decisions made.
Right.
So, you know, I mean, it's and I don't even know what the percentage is of people vote. I used to follow that, but you mean,
pretty low.
When you take it down to it, right, it's very low percentage. Like the youth are very low voting block numbers. You know what I mean?
Mainly because they can't vote.
You know, 18 and up. I'd be good at cutting it off at 30, starting at 34, but.
I like the way it used to be. You have to own land, or you got to, you know, pay taxes, whatever the case may be to qualify to
You're
vote.
talking about knocking out 50% of the population.
I mean, when you're only voting to maintain the government giving you money, I don't think you should be able to vote, man.
It's interesting.
You got to have a skin in the game.
If you're receiving government money and not producing any work for society, right?
Right.
That would
50%
be better said, right?
There's got to be a threshold. Did you see the headlines? What's the lady, the White House press secretary? Yeah.
I don't know why I can't remember her
She
name.
released a statement saying that they're on the trail of Gavin Newsom fraudulently registering illegals to vote. And she said if they can tie the bow on that it will be the biggest election fraud scheme in American history. And that they're going to bring him down.
Bring it on.
So, I mean, I don't hope it's true, but I hope if it is true that they follow through with it finally and nail him, dude. Yeah. I mean, make an example. We need to bring back the public examples of punishment.
You know those videos where people go around these protests and, interview them and stuff like that, especially like No Kings and all that. The amount of grown adults, right, that think it's a good idea not to have voter ID laws, I question myself, are they either that dumb and ignorant, or are they willing to look the other way for the benefit of their party? Because you have to assume...
Which is the same thing.
Which is having to assume there's going to be fraud.
Yeah.
Now,
it's the same thing.
Flip that on the other side.
Vote
and
party
all
lines.
These non-ID voting citizens all voted to the Republican ticket. I guarantee you they'd be the first ones screaming up and down. You know what I mean? But this whole disenfranchising, you got people that can't, a bunch of bullshit.
Dude, it's people vote along party lines. No matter how stupid it is, no matter how corrupt it is, they vote along party lines just because that's the party narrative. They're not going to go against their party narrative. If the Blue Dogs, I mean, that's what they do.
I would probably say 20% of each party is that way.
Nah, I'd say more than that.
Except for what's interesting, I think the blacks are starting to come out of their voting block. Yeah. And I think they're starting to wake up and realize that they might have been used as some pawn in a game that,
yeah, I mean, the party that
they're the only major group that kind of votes that way, right? Everyone else is kind of splintered and fractioned and,
I think Hispanics are pretty heavy Democrat.
I think the illegals are. But I think there's a heavy load of, but I'd be interested, but I think there's a lot of Republicans in the Hispanic side as well.
I think it's shifting.
Look
right.
at Rudy. I mean, Rudy was very much into politics, and there's a, not to use there's going to be as an example
here and there, but I think,
but it's not as core as George Bush. I mean, look here in Texas, we're primarily Hispanic, and we've got a Republican base.
Yes and no. I mean, Texas is very close in the fact that every big city is blue. Every big city everywhere is blue, but those big cities outnumber the countryside by a huge margin. It's not going to be long before Texas is completely blue.
That goes back to my theory we were talking about the other day. The progressive movement is inevitable. It's the opposition party that just slows it down to allow for the adaptation of progressive. And if you think about that over time, at one time, blacks and women couldn't vote. That was wrong, right? But the opposition group at that time kind of kept at a pace. If left unchecked.
Funny part was Republicans were the opposition group at that time.
I know, right? So what do you mean?
Republicans were the ones that wanted
blacks to vote,
women to vote.
They were the progressive of their time.
They were progressive, yeah.
And the Democrats were the counter. They were ones that didn't want it, right?
Right.
Now let's take whatever the hot topic is. Like gay marriage was not too long ago, right? I think if left unchecked, progressivism would just ruin humans. But if allowed to adapt slowly over time, kind of like a frog in a boiling pot of water, right? You just kind of don't feel it. It just kind of comes up. That's the only way it could be. But inevitably, humans are always going to move towards a more progressive agenda.
How come?
Because the reality is you can never go back, right? We all want to go back to our childhood where things were simpler and, because things typically change for the better to an extent, for the most part. But the reality is, as long as you've got free capitalism, right, the market's going to always change. Tell me we retard things to a point, but the only thing I would say that recently in time that we've gone back on is abortion issues, right? Which I think they made the right decision, which was push it back to the states.
Right.
But other than that, when these court cases and this push make it to the Supreme Court, and then they decide what is right or wrong, and viewed against the Constitution, a lot of the big ticket items would have to fall within the Constitution as being part of a constitutional right. Women voting, right?
Right.
Abortions, gay marriage, transgender. Probably in 30 years, we'll have another issue like transgender. That's,
No, there will always be an issue. But that constant march towards a progressive nation, I understand it. It happens everywhere. And that's why I think every nation fails. There's never been a great superpower that is still empowered. 250 years is about your maximum superpower that you can get out of a country. Every great civilization has fallen. And I believe most of it is because of the slow march towards progress.
Very possible.
Progressive. I don't know what the word is, but being progressive, right?
That insurance company.
Yeah. You look at Rome, look at, all these other great nations. It's not that they got defeated or overrun or anything else. They killed each other from the inside. They killed themselves from the inside. And that is what makes the country weak, right? It makes the military's weak. It makes everything else to where the country just falls apart. You overtax the shit out of everyone. You essentially start starving your people because you have to feed the government. You have to feed all these other programs that take care of people that don't want to take care of themselves. And ultimately, it's the demise of every great power.
You know what I foresee the future going to be?
What's that?
Basically a progressive utopia.
Nah, you're crazy.
These robots are coming.
It's never worked before. It never worked, man.
These robots are coming.
No.
We're all going to sit around a campfire and sing Kumbaya.
Mm-hmm. That would be nice, but we'll never get there.
I think so.
Human nature won't allow it.
Oh, I don't think we have a choice.
No, the robots will be here and we'll be sitting around doing nothing. Human nature isn't going to say, hey, you know what? Let's all just get along now. Now we don't have any other words in the world. Let's just go make s'mores together. It ain't going to happen. I think
we're going to all go into a virtual world. So I believe that once we get to that point where the average person's kind of sitting around and you got to realize that everyone needs purpose. We all need purpose in our life to be fulfilled or feel fulfilled, right?
Right.
That lack of purpose, especially with the gentleman that retires, he's got no more purpose. You can count the days. But I think that purpose is going to be moved to a virtual world. And I think Meta is going to probably dominate that industry. We're going to be able to get on there and go meet people, have conversations, go do things, go battle, games. And this is going to be this utopia of allowing our brains to believe we're somewhere else, doing something else, being somebody else, right? You can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to be. You could go walk down the streets of Rome.
You can already do all that online right now. And look at the people that are doing that are living in their mom's basement, conversing with people on the other side of the world, playing games.
It's maybe the healthiest of options.
It's going to kill the country. It will be the end of it.
I don't think so.
Man,
as long as we keep our GDP up, we'll be all right.
What's going to stop another country from overrunning at that point?
The United States?
Yeah.
Our Second Amendment.
Right now.
Our Second Amendment.
Wait until that progressive march takes those guns away, or they make it so freaking expensive to buy the ammo or to do anything. It's coming.
That
right?
And
there's a constant push for it.
We got such a large country. Like we can go invade Europe, man. It's like the size of what, Texas and plus some.
Right.
But no, I don't.
But I'm saying when we're all virtual and weigh 300 pounds and look like the people on the spaceship from, the movie WALL-E, where we're all just drinking one.
But you're talking about the world being this way, not just the country, the United States. You're talking about the world being like this.
I don't think other countries are going to allow that.
They have no choice.
Yeah, they do.
They'll never be able to compete.
Why not? You don't compete
in a global market.
That means you have to monetize every bit of that.
Of course,
online shit.
Well, the models are predicting that because of these robots, everyone's GDP is going to multiply by factor.
Yeah,
5, 6, 7, 8. Right. So
it has to.
Wealth will increase for everybody.
Right.
Right. So,
but just going with a pure utopian VR headset, man, that's a scary future.
I'm looking forward to it.
Nah, it's scary, man.
Hey,
that's scary.
I need some coffee.
Coffee break.
Yes, sir.